Okay, this is Steve Johnson back from Johnson's Portside up on Mille Lacs Lake, and this is part 3 of a series of MILFAC and the state of Mille Lacs fishery. The effect that I'm seeing, what I call the displacement theory, our smallmouth populations has really exploded in the last 10 years, especially the last 5 years. And what we're seeing is that the smallmouth, being a very territorial fish, are controlling a lot of the water that's less than 9 feet. Unfortunately, in the history of the test netting, a lot of the test nets are set in waters that are shallow. So when the DNR is out in the fall, when the water temp is approximately 62 degrees, they're setting those test nets in a lot of areas where there are basically no walleyes because the smallmouth are controlling a lot of those areas. The walleyes, in my opinion, have simply drifted off into some deeper water, and yes, the DNR does set some deep water nets, but unless those deep water nets, whether they're on the mud flats or whether they're in the no man's land, those nets need to be near food in order to be near walleyes. Walleyes will roam those areas, and until they find a food source, they will continue roaming. So if you're setting your net, and the nets are 250 feet long, there's 32 nets set over 8 days, and the water temp is 62 degrees before they start, so the nets soak for 24 hours. If you think that's a good enough sample, that's fine. My opinion, it's not good enough sampling. So like I say, those deep water sets nets always show more fish than the shallow water nets, but in the last few years it's been declining more in the shallow waters than it has been in the deep water. Applying common sense and looking at the physical evidence would make one conclude that my theory is possibly correct, but unfortunately, dealing with the management of Mille Lacs Lake, we're not allowed to use common sense that much because we're under the Treaty Fisheries Management rules, and again, we live and die by those quotas. So what I call the displacement is basically the smallmouth population explosion effect. Our smallmouth fishing is absolutely incredible. We have a elite series from Bassmasters coming up this fall. I think those professional bass fishermen from all over the United States will be blown away by what Mille Lacs offers in smallmouth fishing. We're ranked in the top 10, I believe number 6 now in bass lakes, and it holds true. You can hit this lake and catch smallmouth, and you can catch big smallmouth. If you can't catch 5-pound smallmouth on Mille Lacs Lake, you're just not very good at it, or you're just not in less than 9 feet of water. So yes, the smallmouth, I think, my opinion, they've had an effect on location of fish, but they've also created an entirely new fishery on Mille Lacs Lake. So that concludes part 3, and I will move on to part 4 when I can think of more to say, because right now that's about all I have.